This is my portfolio website. And although it doesn't look like a typical website, it still shows the projects that I've done, shows my resume. Like here's my resume, has all my links, and you can even click on this up here to get all of my Java projects. You can click on a book over here to get some dynamic page flipping with some information about stuff like, for example, my YouTube channel and much, much more. So if you're interested in visiting it, it's hosted at brycehanna.dev. And yes, that is my name. And you can check it out. I'm very proud of this project, but I do sort of regret it. So if you want to figure out my creative process for creating this entire project and why I sort of regret it, watch this video. And if you enjoy it, like the video, make sure to subscribe. And who knows, maybe this will even get me a job. I have a ton of projects, and that's made evident by my GitHub, where I have 47 repositories, each with some sort of different idea or goal. Everything from some toy like tic-tac-toe project to a Python neuroevolution simulation to a back-end web server to a front-end React web app, all of my Roblox stuff, all of my really old Java stuff, and more. And I need a way to present this to employers in such a way that they'll want to hire me. Now, for any developer, my first solution was to take the simplest route without any obstacles, and that was using the built-in like GitHub README. So I set up this, cute little page with all my pinned repositories, little stat menu about my YouTube channel, and then all of my GitHub stats, which still kind of suck. And I was like, okay, cool, that works. That got me through like all of last year. But last spring, I was thinking about getting internships in the next summer, so summer of 2025, and I wanted to prepare by making a banger portfolio website. Now, what most people do with their website is they create something simple, something minimalist, just gets the job done, gets all of their projects out, and demonstrates that I can actually host a website with a custom domain name. But I wanted to go a little further because I'm an overachiever and a perfectionist. Now, my options were limited in that regard. I could either learn all the CSS, learn all the design, make something beautiful, pretty, has great UX, or do something a little more unique. And since my history is in game development and 3D graphics, I thought I could find a way to incorporate that into a browser website. I didn't really know this was possible until I saw Bruno Simone's portfolio website. So he is a creator of a 3JS tutorial series, and his website, literally, as you can see here, is just driving around a car, and then you can drive through his projects and visit each one of his projects. And there's a lot of physical simulation, there's a lot of stuff going on. It looks beautiful, even though it has a minimalist graphic, and I thought this was the coolest thing. So I want to find a way where I could incorporate something that I like, one of my like side hobbies, into a 3D environment to present my programming projects. So over time, I just kind of collected a list of things I was interested in or like my hobbies, just to kind of see what would be a good fit to incorporate into a portfolio website. And what I eventually decided on was doing something in regards to books or like journaling because I read a lot of books, I journal a lot, and I think books are pretty cool. And it's something different that, most CS kids can't really like flaunt or show off. And I thought I could turn it into a cool looking portfolio website. My first idea regarding this was creating a book, basically a single book where each page was an entry with some sort of project. Maybe like the words would be on the page and like you had a cool little page flip animation. I thought that would be really, really cool. So I got started. Now, what did that mean? So I started using 3JS, which is a JavaScript library. Well, I was using TypeScript because, dude, you could not make me use JavaScript. That language is terrible. But TypeScript, on the other hand, is a little bit more bearable. So I was using TypeScript and 3JS to make 3D graphics in the web. 3JS is just a very thin wrapper on top of like WebGL, I think it is, to just draw shapes and primitives and models. And then I don't really have a lot of the footage for the development process just because I did this all last spring and I didn't really feel like recording everything I did because I didn't really know if I was gonna turn this into video. I didn't really know if I was gonna get this done because I kind of set my goal around like to finish this around May so I could just forget about it. So I'm just gonna have to kind of explain it to you. So I first started off with like just a book, and this book could like flip pages, and getting that to work using Blender was an absolute nightmare. But the final product can be shown in my actual web with the page flipping that you can see on some of the pages or on some of the little booklets that you can pick up. So this like page flip animation alone took like 2 months to get right because you had to deal with exporting and converting from Blender to a file that could be compatible with 3JS and not take up a lot of room, and you had to get the animation and the keyframe working and all of the pages working. It was a freaking mess, but it looks really cool. It looks really, really, really cool. And it's exactly what I wanted. But around like midway through all that page dilemma book stuff, I started thinking about other ways I could incorporate this book idea into a larger portfolio website. And I briefly toyed with the idea of physics, and I realized physics are really inconsistent, and making that for your portfolio site is a terrible idea. And then I was like, okay, let's just make this an entire desk where each item on the desk represents a project. And that sounded really good to me. So I got to work. I modeled everything using Blender, and all of the models are my own. I really enjoy modeling. And I used a lot of, and I use an Infenza tutorial, I think that's the name of the YouTuber, to get my low modeling or low poly modeling technique to where I needed it to make these models. And I think they all turned out pretty good. And then as the project scaled, I incorporated React for state management. So to make things a little better, there's a really good library called React 3 Fiber that blended the state management and expressiveness of declarative React with 3D graphics in 3JS. And you can check out all the code on the repository for the portfolio site. I'm not going to go into it because it's formatted relatively well, but it's still kind of a rat's nest, and I don't want to look at that code base if I don't have to. And so around May, or I guess early June, when I was making some final changes, I finished my portfolio website, at least how it stands today. But that was kind of a bittersweet moment. That's because I looked back on the time I spent working on this project, all of the struggles, the triumphs, the pains, and I kind of realized, like, I kind of regretted it. Because one of my friends, he kept on telling me, oh, like, it's not really a good idea. Like, the project as a portfolio will be kind of hard to navigate and difficult to work with. It won't really work well on mobile. It won't work for, accessibility reasons. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, I'm already too far deep. I gotta finish this. And I finished it, and I kind of realized, like, he was right. This is a really cool project. Don't get me wrong, this is a great project. But doing stuff like, for example, updating my resume. I have to go and export the PNG, then recompile the entire project. And then I had another feature where you could like click on elements of the resume to go to their respective project points. And I had to get rid of that because every time I'd update my resume, I'd have to update all of that too. And stuff like adding new projects, that's pretty difficult because I gotta make a new model. I gotta, do stuff like that. And you can use this on mobile, although it's difficult and really clunky. And then you definitely can't use this if you have accessibility issues with your browser, or like this might not be compatible with all browsers. I don't know. It should work on most things. And then overall, there's just a lot of risk that goes into it. Like I do have tutorial kind of onboarding when you first load into the site, but what if you like don't really know how to get around 3D environments? What if you've never played a 3D video game? Navigating this is going to be very difficult. There are certain features I added to help, like the glowing yellow outlines around items you haven't picked up, but most of the people I tested with said they never even noticed it. So at the end of the day, like I could have been spending this time that I worked on this website to, work on my leak code, my like competitive programming, my job interview skills. Because at the end of the day, those skills are probably more important than a really cool website. But then again, for me, for myself, this was an amazing experience. It tested my capabilities to their greatest extent. I learned a tremendous amount about TypeScript and React and 3JS, which I'll probably almost certainly use down the line. And it was honestly really fun. All of those other things that could have been bettering my career might not have been as fun, even though they could have been more beneficial. But at the end of the day, this was a great project. Is it a great portfolio website? No, not really. But I have it on my resume, so I can tell people about it. I can tell people I used React and 3JS. So I'll say, it was almost worth it, even though I do sort of regret it. But I hope you go check it out just to play around with it. Check out my code if you want to build something similar, because I know there's a couple people on the internet who do stuff like this, and all of them are really cool, and all of them look a lot prettier than mine, and they've been a great inspiration to me. But I hope you enjoyed hearing about my portfolio website journey. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if any employers are watching and want to hire me for the next summer, please reach out to me. That would be great because job searching is terrible. But with that, I hope you have a nice day and goodbye.